What's going on, motivators? We got another video. I want to talk about Democrat states and why they're being run so poorly. So let's get into this.
What do you say to people who are frustrated? We heard a little bit about that on opening day, and people are still upset with perhaps your leadership.
Well, I would say, I understand, Boogate that Sinclair continues to push. The thing that I would say is this: there's a reason why.
This is the governor of Baltimore, Wes Moore. He just got booed, but he's trying to make it seem that it's just a boogate. It's nothing big, but the people are disappointed. But what hurts me the most about the disappointment is they keep voting for the same thing over and over. It's almost like they're stuck in some kind of trance, right? If you know that you're not getting what you voted for, shouldn't you try something else? Isn't there something called a definition of insanity? Is it doing the same thing but expecting a different result? This is what we have with Democrats.
I still am one of the most popular governors in the country because I think people continue to believe in the work that we're doing, and people continue to know that I fight for our people. I think.
I don't know in the country, probably in the Democrat states. I mean, he doesn't have too much to go by, right? Go off. You got Gavin Newsom, J.D. Pritzker. I mean, they're not doing anything for their states, really. Their states keep getting worse and worse. Crime rate. I'm hoping that one day the people gonna understand that and not just vote for free stuff.
People they want to spend their time analyzing the percentage of cheers versus boos. I would think you'd have better things to do with your time. But, if that's a conversation that Sinclair wants to have, that's fine. I think the thing that people were most concerned about was that the Orioles won an opening.
For the most part, people do enjoy the game, but they enjoy a safe city to be in. The reason we're getting booed is not because of the game. It's because of the way the state is being ran. And it's being ran poorly. So we could look right here in the last 5 days in New York. The Dems are pushing to raise corporate tax rate to bail out Mayor Mamdani's massive deficit. We all knew it was going to happen, right? But yet the people still voted for it. I do not understand how people keep voting against their interests, their best interest, that is. New York State Democrat lawmakers are pushing to raise the corporate tax on businesses to help bail out Mayor Mamdani, who is facing a projected $4.4 billion deficit in the city budget. There's a huge appetite to increase corporate taxes, said sources who recently met with both side assembly speakers. I'm saying again, the people are voting against their own best interest, right? I know before the election, people were saying they wanted it to happen so they could regret it. What I think is going to be a big problem is they're going to pay a higher corporate tax. Someone either going to vote for it. It's yet to be seen. But if it does passes, the next election, they're going to vote for somebody who's probably more progressive or keep the one that we currently have in place. They do have the choice. We, the people, the voters, we have the choice to make the decision and change people in power to support the interests of the constituents.
Later today, her salary came from charitable grant funding, which was meant to last 3 years.
My administration never made a commitment to an amount of time for this particular office. And what we're excited about is that she obviously was able to do it in less than 3 years. But now we're moving towards implementation.
Johnson says that Jonah Anderson, first deputy mayor for Health and Human Services, will now serve a dual role and also be the head of the mayor's office on homelessness.
There's a difference with caring for people who are less fortunate, who may be mentally ill, especially the homeless, and just letting the city turn into a dumpster. Here in California, it's a mess. You just saw in Chicago, it's a mess. They're saying they're tackling it's on play. It's not going anywhere. We all seen the money being poured into it. It only gets worse. California has poured billions into homelessness.
Another topic of discussion, the Bears. The Chicago Park District Superintendent wants $630 million in funding to renovate Soldier Field and the museum campus to make sure it remains profitable if the Bears leave for Arlington Heights or Indiana.
And that's another thing. That's badly ran by the mayor too. Brandon Johnson cannot negotiate with such a high value team as the Chicago Bears to maintain them in Chicago so they won't go to somewhere else. I mean, it's the NFL that we were talking about. You got to make your city worthwhile, right? So people or the company wants to stay, not flee.
Virtually 25% of every state program is filled with fraud. Number one, what is your comment on that? And number two, what has Newsom's response been to?
And Newsom has been there for a while. 25% of every state program is filled with fraud. I don't know if you remember, but during COVID, there was tons of fraud, especially in California. You have to be able to balance a budget and have people where the money is going to send feedback into how it was spent. Money is just going all over the place and there is nothing to show what's going on with it.
Well, first of all, that is exactly in line with other investigations, including ones that we've done. I spoke to Chris Rufo. He's doing fantastic work, as are many others. Nick Shirley, Dr. Oz, now the vice president with the fraud task force. So many people now are focusing on this because we are the biggest state with the biggest budget and the biggest fraud and corruption. So if you look at the
biggest fraud and corruption, because it's all played into the system. I would put my money on it that there is some way, somehow, kickbacks to all those government officials.
Central question Californians are asking, which is, how is it possible that we pay the highest taxes in the country for the worst results? The homelessness, the schools are a disaster. We have the highest cost of living, the highest poverty rate, the highest unemployment rate, and yet we pay with the worst roads.
Yeah, I was about to mention that. The roads are terrible. The roads are terrible. The idea of taxes, you would think, is to rebuild infrastructures, right? Roads, buildings, bridges, infrastructure, beautify the state. Not in California. The roads are the most horrible roads that I've seen. The money comes out, but no one knows where it goes to. I mean, we do know where it goes to. It goes into fraud pockets.
In the country, even though we have the highest gas tax. Well, now we see the answer. Fraud and corruption on an epic scale after 16 years of one-party rule by a corrupt Democrat regime. And so if you look at the details, we just published a report with my organization I set up as part of my campaign, Cal Doge, modeled on the president's.
We also had recalls in California showing the unsatisfaction that we had over here. But the people keep on voting for the same thing. Gavin Newsom. They voted for mayors in San Francisco who destroyed the city. All right, anyway, guys, please like, comment, subscribe, and share a Black Veteran Perspective. Stay motivated.